And welcome, everybody, to the Stepladder final of the inaugural PBA50 event of this year, the 2025 Fort Myers Classic. Brian Kane producing. This is Craig Elliott. Tom Carter is joining us here for the Stepladder final as always. Craig, we do have a rookie on the show, just not the one people thought it was going to be.
No, not Tom Doherty, but Mark Clark. He bowled one event last year, but he's still a rookie here this year, and he is a number 2 seed.
On the other hand, Tom, we have some extremely familiar faces in this PBA50 title chase.
Extremely, starting with Andres Gomez and then J.J. Johnson, which was almost on every show last year.
Yeah, Janawicz, and then that's the opening match. Then we have John Rakoski.
No, John Rakoski.
Yeah, and John's got a massive home court advantage. This is his home house.
And every time he threw a ball, the place erupted. I think he knows every panel in this house as far as the lanes are concerned. He's going to be tough to beat.
Then Mark Clark, whom we have seen before on BowlTV last year at the Petraglia as part of the World Series of Bowling. And then at the very top, Brad Angelo.
Well, for Mark Clark, it's murderer's row for him. He's the rookie, and everybody has been on TV. Now he's got to beat Brad Angelo, who seems to have another hot hand as he doubles the 10th to take out Rudy.
And finishes the number 1 seed. He's won in this building, but it's been a while. And incredibly, we've talked about this before, his last win was here, 3 years ago?
Yeah, April of 2022. So it's been a little over 3 years since Brad was in the winner's circle. He makes a ton of Stepladder finals. We've seen him by all the selfies we see him take, but has not got the win. He wants it as bad as anybody in this building.
All right, let's see how this all shapes out. We are about to get match number 1 underway. It's an all-Floridian battle. South Florida, Andres Gomez out of Davie, that's near Fort Lauderdale, and John Janawicz out of the middle of the state. So let's get to work. Well, Tom, let's take a second and talk. Andres, I did. I rooted for Jeff.
And Andres trying to get a little extra help here. Apparently, Dave, you might not want to tell Andres you picked John Rakoski here in this tournament, so,
Well, he's got to get to John Rakoski first. Pursuit for the bins.
Yeah, his first match is going to be the easiest thing in the world.
First 2 matches are the Battle of Florida. All right.
Yeah, you got, and really 3 parts of the state. You got Southeast Florida, Andres, and then you've got John Janawicz, Central Florida, and John on just a few minutes here for Fort Myers in Estero, which is the west coast of Florida. If Kirk Von Kruger had come out of retirement, we'd have the Panhandle and have that part of Florida.
Come on, Kirk. What are you doing?
Ethan Fiore was 40 years older. He would be out of Tampa.
Yeah, nobody needs him out here, too.
No, he was here, but luckily for everybody in this field, he's a little on the young side.
Yeah, we check IDs.
Yeah, boy, is that kid smooth. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's going to be a real problem.
Yeah, has your knee been any close to his, Tom?
No.
Yeah, no.
Well, at one time, 100 years ago.
Yeah, when he was Ethan's age. All right, here we go. Andres Gomez, and what a difficult 2024 he had with injuries. Maybe this is going to be a big year for him.
He didn't get a lot of tournaments in last year.
He was beat up. I had a chance to talk with him beforehand, and he said, I didn't bowl 7 game blocks when I was recovering. And it didn't seem to affect him. We had 7 games qualifying blocks, 2 straight days before we got into this match play format, and now to the Stepladder final.
Yeah, there's a lot of bowling today, best of 3. Some of the matches did go to 3, a lot of 2 and dones.
Not his.
Yeah, none of JJ's.
Well, hang on here, Craig. What was?
Yeah, he averaged 264.75.
JJ, every match was 2 and done with JJ.
Yeah, it wasn't close, and that was because of him. Sometimes you had guys, so and so didn't bowl well. Didn't matter if you bowled well. He bowled better. That's the easiest way to describe it.
He's throwing one of the balls that had to come out of his van that I didn't see because he bowled right next to me for 14 games, and that ball never hit the lane until today.
Until today, yeah. I have seen, I don't know if this is a ball that Anthony Simonson likes to use.
It is, yeah, the old idol.
Yeah. So I have seen this recently in some PBA telecasts.
And Tom, JJ just likes to do that to us on purpose. Bring out some ball that we think he's going to throw and not throw it, and then just find something else and just to confuse us.
Well, he looks at the ball and he comes back and shakes his head like he didn't like it, but it's 10 in the pit. always. And he's going to his bag already.
He's taking one back, and maybe it's a little too crowded in the ball rack there. But and don't forget, John does not have a ball contract. He's independent.
Yeah, he can throw whatever he wants.
Yeah, and does.
And well.
And Andres,
for somebody who's coming off an injury, he is pretty smooth.
He has always been smooth. I remember almost feeling sorry for him at the USBC Masters last year when he kept winning when he was really hurt. Had a bad heel. It was just, he was absolutely certain at any moment it was just going to explode, and he finally got beat in the Masters, and it was actually a relief as much as anything else. He got to the show in Vegas last year at the USBC Masters, and that was the last we saw of him. He shut himself down just to feel better, played some golf, which doesn't always make you feel better mentally, but physically maybe. And
it was just over a year ago, though, so he had plenty of time to heal up and rest up.
Oh, yeah. And he stayed active in South Florida doing clinics, bowling clinics, and all of that. He works as a bowling center in Boca Raton. So he stayed active, but didn't compete.
I did have a chance to chat with him during the break there. We were kind of hypothesizing, did he realize he had a chance to make the show after getting beat? And
he'd already taken his equipment outside.
He was taking stuff out, and somebody said, hey, you better hang on. So he came out in the second frame and said, oh, yeah, okay, I got a chance. And he went and got some other balls, moving stuff. Came out, realized, okay, you know what? I'm not going to make it. Comes back, I am going to make it. You know, the way those matches changed early and late in the matches, you know, it was a little emotional roller coaster for Andres. And you know what? Here he is.
You have this, I think, a slightly different format where when you get to that last 8, you start looking at the seed number. The number 1 seed, Brad Angelo, in this case, was going to finish either 5th or 1st. If he won, he was going to be 1st. If he lost, he was going to be 5th. And since Brad won and gobbled up the number 1 position, that opened up for other seeds to get in. And number 2 was Tom Doherty. He was beaten by Tom Adcock. Then the number 3 seed was Mark, so he moved to the number 2 position. John Rakoski, the number 5 seed, took the 3 spot. John was 4th, and so the highest remaining seed left was Andres Gomez.
Which was 11.
Yep. And that is the optimum idle that JJ is throwing.
And he's played that same shot. I'm sure you guys have talked about it, but he's played that same shot for the most part through the whole tournament, maybe just a little bit deeper as we had more games, but just that same shape. And I think it's unfair because he understands the lane so well.
Well, you know, we were saying, what does he do? Well, he designs patterns.
Yeah. And he understands topography, and he's always taking notes. He sees the lane totally different, I can guarantee you, than any of the other players out here.
Well, but you know, Tom, that what these players want to do, they want to try to be able to play their happy space on the lane, right? And JJ just figures out how to do that with his knowledge.
Right. You know, if you get to play, let's say, your A game when you go to a tournament, odds are you should be pretty good in that tournament.
Now, speaking of happy places, Andres Gomez has found his. He has a little bit of that Monticelli finish with the post at the end there. Not necessarily the backswing.
Not the backswing, because Amarillo's got a little bit of snap in his elbow and his wrist right at the bottom of the swing. Andres is way more fluid through the bottom of the swing.
And how does Amarillo still have that? We don't know.
Because he stays in shape.
Everybody said, because we all watched him when he was a kid coming out, that there's no way he's going to last with that arm swing. He's going to snap that elbow. He's going to snap a wrist. Something's going to give. And here he is. He's still playing just as strong as he ever did.
And all the people that said that are no longer bowling.
That's true.
Or have snapped elbows and wrists.
Or had bad knees and they quit.
So there you go. So Gomez perfect through 5.
Great look at this bowling scene here. Lightning strikes. Beautiful 50-lane center in Fort Myers. Robert Eddy, a fantastic host, as always.
You know, it's like 18-7, and it's just hit the repeat button. It's amazing.
Janawicz had the first round bye. He defeated Sammy Ventura and then Tom Adcock to get here.
Right now, JJ's down in this opening match.
Well, that's because he actually had to shoot a spare, which Gomez has not had to worry about yet. Andres 3 PBA titles. And John took a different route and just started really getting involved after 50 or at 50.
Yeah, here we got a guy that is PBA eligible, but he hasn't been a PBA member long enough by the rules to become a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Fame eligible. Yeah,
Hall of Fame eligible.
7 titles already in 2 seasons for John Janawicz.
One thing John never does, he never gets excited about anything. Between John Janawicz and John Rakoski, I don't think either one of them, there's formaldehyde in their veins.
It's a quiet, this is going to be a relatively quiet stepladder until we get to Clark and Angelo. Because Andres is not super talkative on the lanes. Off the lanes, that's different. That's a 6-bagger.
And they're not throwing it overly hard. Andres is throwing it 14.3, so he's not like flaming on the ball going down the lane. He's trying to create shape. This pattern can kind of suck you into wanting to play the wrong part of the lane because it looks like the shot is there, the friction's there, the ball's making the right move, but the carry isn't there.
Well, I think that's what happened to A Squad day one, right? They kind of started in the wrong spot, and it cost them a lot of players in the top 60.
It cost them dearly.
Yeah.
We'll get into details on the pattern, maybe in between games. We'll have a little bit of time to talk about it, show it to you.
Gomez front 7.
Oh,
9 pin says denied.
Wow.
just a hair bit high. And his last shot was 14.37. This was 14.35. So
Better work on speed control.
yeah, that speed control might have something to do with things.
Yeah, that's pretty solid right there.
I think this pattern was really conducive for, I think everybody in the field in conversation said the same thing. They could get to the pocket. Everybody could get to the pocket. It's just a matter if you had the right rotation on the ball to carry, or the right ball in your hand, or the right surface on the ball. But it's getting the ball to go through the pins. Otherwise, you left just a whole bunch of 10 pins or 4 pins trying to figure it out.
Well, and Tom, I'm sure you saw it across the house, right? We look at Mika's first block. He's 199 over the first 3, and then like plus 50 the back 4. Once going across this center, you caught some pairs. You had to be ready for them.
Oh,
and if you weren't ready, it was game over.
Yeah, the low end was way tighter when you flipped and got down there, and the high end, 47-48, they called that the trick pair. That was the pair if you hit, you needed to come out with it. If you got a decent 200 out of it or 190, you were safe. There was a lot of 160s on that pair. The problem with the pattern is when you're hitting the pocket and everybody's hitting the pocket and you're leaving 10s and 4s and you're trying to figure out something, and you make a big move trying to figure out how to get the ball to go through the pins, then you ended up with a big 4 or some kind of split.
It's a little early. We have a little bit more bowling to go.
Are you going to say it?
Yeah. You want to say it?
We have the possibility of a tie.
High.
At 279.
79.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
That one got a little more than 9 pin the day. Didn't quite split it on that one. So come on, he's a perfectionist. Do a little better there.
Well,
JJ.
it's just
He's writing down notes already. So
of course, he does that. Not after every shot, but when he has a moment to sit, waiting for the others to bowl.
I think part of it is in the anticipation that if he goes to the next match, what the lanes are doing, and he's writing down ball reactions so he knows what's coming up.
So Gomez didn't miss by much. But again, John, his average 264 today, almost 265.
That's a tough day at the office.
Over 4 games. We did have some very high scores. John Rakoski was plus 384 yesterday in qualifying.
And there was, 5, 6 300s shot in this
6.
tournament?
Yeah. Including today when Tom Hess opened this morning in the advancers round with a 300, and it was immediately matched by John Janawicz.
Well, JJ has the lead coming up in the 9th, 10th frame. Andres strikes here. Keep the pressure on.
I said this earlier in qualifying. I would admit, regardless of the result, I think for Andres, this is a gratifying tournament to find out, okay, I really don't know what I have coming back to the tour. And the answer is plenty.
Yeah. And if he's going to play most of the senior tour, this is not the only show we're going to see him on.
Absolutely
Wow. That was rude. That was absolutely rude.
That was worse than the other one. No doubt about it.
I remember last year, early in the season, Andres led some qualifying at the Villages.
Yes,
makes
he
the
did.
show at the Masters, and then that injury, that was the end of the season.
But he was in bad shape at the Masters. I talked to him several times. He was really hurting and was trying to gut through it. So,
That puts his max at
Yep.
257.
Now it's just a hope and a prayer because unless something drastically happens with John, which is totally unforeseen.
you never know. But we have learned we never know. All right, that was just a baby timing step, so he's not going to gun this too much. But he's going to do that.
His timing, it's the uniqueness of, it's kind of like a first, almost a stutter step. He moves it a couple times, bumps the ball up, then pauses, then takes off.
I equate it to a pony taking its first steps. You've probably seen video, right?
Yes.
A very, very young, almost newborn pony that's getting up on its leg. That first step. After that, it's and
Bambi.
And you're right. So, but it's a timing thing. It's his way of starting the engine.
Well, he told us that's his speed control as well.
Yeah.
The amount of hesitation, it determines the ball speed.
Because he hardly has any hesitation when he shoots a single pin spare. It's just up and gone.
That's gonna have to turn. Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Spare strike is 258. Spare 9 is 257. Gomez's max is 257.
We still have the possibility.
Yeah, that's just the high hard one of the old 10 pin right there.
Strike's a winner.
9's a tie.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Potentially tie there. We got John Rakoski warming up.
Sitting in the wings, and that's when this place will start clapping and going
Well,
nuts.
he also has to hurry up because there's league tonight at 8. So,
I think they already started doing lanes at the other end.
well, there's an addition to that. We'll tell you in a second here, but let's get through the business part of our evening because this is a big shot here for John.
All right. Andres has a chance.
The door is open for a tie, but Andres is going to have to be perfect. It would be a one-ball roll-off. So the other thing, Tom, the rest of the story is John has brought clothes to change into because this is the league he bowls in.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's not
It's
right.
not, that's not guaranteed that he's going to do it.
After bowling all day, is he going to bowl league tonight?
They're not going to let him in jackpots. No, I wouldn't.
Good point. He may not need the money anyway. But first things first, let's see if Andres can fire off 3 here. Pretty shot.
That was about as perfect as it can get right there.
Andres is playing just a few boards left of JJ, you know, and a lot of us during the fresh thought the oil carried down, and having a talk with the lane man, since this is a 30-plus-year-old surface, it's the volume in the front and the track is so prevalent that after about 6-7 shots, the ball started reading the front and losing some energy on the back. So you're thinking you got carry down leaving 10 pins, which in reality, the ball might be burning up just a little bit in the front part of the lane.
Must strike again for Gomez. And it does. Kick save and a beauty on the 10. Strike the tie and force a one-ball roll-off.
And JJ's just coming off a win, too.
At Lehigh Acres.
Yeah, he won $5,000 just last week.
Bowling on string pins. And
We mentioned that speed control earlier for Andres, 14.42, 14.45. His last two shots, 14.49. Both of them dead flush. That's pretty impressive.
Uh-oh, that's got to hurry. And it did.
all right, we're going to have a one-ball roll-off. The higher seed will get the choice. That will be Janawicz.
Time must be broken by a one-ball roll-off. Higher seed gives the choice of starting lane and order. Mr. Janowicz will get to choose.
Well, they're both striking.
Yeah, I'm not sure it matters.
Does it really make a difference?
Well, you don't want to put Andres back on lane. He just threw 3 in a row, right? That's probably the only deciding factor here.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. Yeah, nobody has a weak lane. So let's see. Real simple here, folks.
Be interesting to see if JJ just inches a little bit left.
Well, he went 9-9 his last 2 shots on this lane.
That was
business.
That was a lot farther left on that shot at the arrows.
And he leaves the door open after he definitely looked like he moved a little bit. And now Gomez can beat him with a strike. If he throws a 9, we will just simply do it again.
That's kind of unique. We're watching speeds, and Janowicz just threw his 14.98, and all of his other shots were well into the 15s.
Yeah, but some of that time I think he got a little and curved a little bit more, so it'll read a touch slower because of that.
Didn't he had a little loft on that also?
Yeah, he changed angles. There's no doubt because that was the lane that he was leaving, with pins on.
10 pins.
Yeah, that famous one. I didn't want to talk about it.
So here's Andres now going for the win. And he'll
that
get
was
it.
about as flush as you could get.
Andres Gomez is moving on to take on John Rakoski. John Janawicz will finish in 5th place.
Gomez still looking for his first win on the PBA50 tour.
And keep that up, he will have it. But he does have some national titles to his name.
He has 3 tour titles.
Mm-hmm. He's been smooth. Defeated John Janawicz moments ago in a roll-off. Janawicz had a 9, and Andres threw a strike.
Yeah, 257 tie.
Yep. That's right in line with what Janawicz was doing all day today. Bombing high scores. He found somebody who was equal to him.
That ball is just slowing down at the right spot and just going through the pins.
Yeah, he
was a
hasn't
little
found out of
slower,
bounds yet.
I was
No.
sub 14 mile an hour on that.
Really?
Yeah, that is 13.96. The other one on the right lane was 15.1. So this is the most deviation in speed we've seen him throw.
Little nerves getting to it, maybe something.
Maybe getting a little amped at this point.
Notice as he threw one over 15, says I got to slow it down, and well, he did.
See, now we get the crowd going.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's people sitting in the audience, Tom, going, I bowl with that guy. And that would be no exaggeration.
Next week we're at the Villages, just up the road, about 3 hours.
Spanish Springs lanes, big field, and a different format away. Oh!
Oh,
Hometown
messenger.
discount. Hometown discount.
Yeah, we're on the Wayne Webb pattern, 37 feet up there.
And they're not bringing a lot of oil to this event.
And it's a no re-oil tournament.
Yep.
3 squads, fresh burn and double burn.
They may paintbrush the lanes for the stepladder final, but that'll be about it.
So you spend all year living at Wayne's place. You get down here, and then you have to ball in his pattern. What's up with that?
I know. What's wrong with that picture?
Can't get away from the guy.
Just wait till July. Well, he has just, how many in a row is that now? He got about 8 in a row, right? We threw a 3-bagger to finish in the 10th.
Yeah.
And then
those
roll off, and now these 3, that's 7.
That was just a pinch high flush.
Yeah, he's going to have to start making a move, though. He's been throwing the ball pretty consistent in the exact same spot with the same speed. You can't camp out there all day long.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was just
I think he
pure.
upped it a little bit on that one.
All right. Well, who's going to be the first to miss? That could be our new poll.
And he looked like he was almost like at 23 at the arrows from my angle over here.
Yeah,
that shot.
There was a little move on that lane.
I see.
Well, we had a 257 tie game 1. Can we exceed that here in game 2?
We've had
You're not going to say it already. It's only the 4th frame, right?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm thinking it. What I was going to say is so far in the game and a half we've had here, we've had nothing worse than a single pin spare to shoot at. We've had no splits. We've had no anything other than the occasional, and I do mean occasional, single pin.
The John playing them a lot straighter right around 15 where Andrews is going through it and back. I mean, that could kind of mess up the pattern a little bit.
Rakoski had 300. Was that today or was that yesterday?
Had to be
yesterday. It was yesterday.
Had to be part of that plus 384.
Oh,
he had.
That's right. I remember he had it because we were talking about
Yeah.
what his celebration was not going to be.
No, exactly. He took some fist bumps in the crowd. I thought he was going to wave, but he didn't. But he did get a lot of fist bumps from the locals. So.
Andre made a move on that lane. He moved in a little bit, crossing 4th arrow.
Well, he is a certified, I think he's at least a silver certified USBC coach. So Coach Andres is helping out student Andres right now.
Normally, you don't see balls with surface on them like they're being played quite as deep as they're playing them. By the time they get in there, normally they're into something pearl or a hybrid. But both of those guys got a little bit of surface on the ball.
Look out. That sounded funny. And a single
that was high,
pin.
4 pin.
Yep, a single pin is left, finally. That was a 9 in a row string for Andres, counting the roll-off.
Okay, he got a handful of that one.
And he threw at 14.2. That was a little slower. Probably trying to get around it, make sure the ball corners on the back.
Wasn't that kind of the common mistake, right? You start cheating left, you want to make sure you get enough of it, and then he got more than enough of it, unfortunately.
Right. Probably got a little handsy with it right at the bottom. Make sure he got it.
Well, there's the answer to your question, Dave. Who was the first to not strike? Andres Gomez.
Beginning to wonder if it was going to be anybody. The winner of this match, by the way, will take on Mark Clark. And at the top of the step ladder, Brad Angelo.
And Mark Clark threw a bunch of strikes in this tournament, qualifying 3rd. That was like 12-13 right at the arrows on this right lane. And he's at home right there. I mean,
Yeah, if he gets to do this the rest of the night, he'll be here a while.
yes.
And possibly being interviewed afterwards.
Got a little bit of a fist pump right there. Might be the most excitement you see out of him.
Was into before he started taking this to this level, he was a banker, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he was.
So you kind of want a level-headed guy handling your money.
And he had a chance to come out on the tour, and he wasn't going to do it, but I think his wife forced him to do it because this is your chance to do it, and obviously this has paid off for him.
7-bagger for John.
Yeah, he's playing right around 12-13 on that lane also.
And just not missing. I mean,
No.
and we haven't had any close calls with him or like, ooh, that's not a good shot. Oh, lucky strike. Nothing lucky.
But look at it. He's throwing it 15-6. A little firmer. Keeping it on line. Andre's obviously using more shape to the ball.
You can tell me he's going to miss once and that maybe not win the game?
That's a possibility.
Holy smokes.
That'd be a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, that hour and 50-minute drive will probably feel a little longer if that's what happens.
Well, Rakoski's ball reaction and pin action is not showing any signs of letting up.
He's just drawn almost a straight line, it looks like. It's just doesn't miss.
And the thing about both of these players, they look like they're doing it so effortlessly. I mean, it's just, there's no grunting
No.
or throwing. This is just like a dance going to the line. It's just smooth.
Yeah, John at least got the morning off. Andres did not. He's been at this since basically sunrise.
Tell you one thing that's always been interesting for me with John Rakoski is how does he get the carry playing so direct?
Exactly.
Right? I mean, that's just not normal.
Wow.
Well, I guess there's our answer. He doesn't get it every time.
It's not like he does a lot of fancy stuff at the bottom of the swing.
No,
He's
not a
just-
big rev rate, not
No.
curving it much, but somehow he just tricks it to get the ball. And you know, we've seen him throw messengers too, playing that direct with the slower ball speed. That's why he has 2 titles. Can we say it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Craig.
We have the possibility of a tie.
Well, the 257 tie, 279 tie, and the numbers are going up, guys.
And then 300 tie next game. Mark it down.
I'm not going to count it out. Not the way these guys have thrown it. I mean, 2 shots, they were good-looking shots that didn't strike.
That was a little high flush. He's trying to wave it off.
He was asking for a little help,
Yeah.
which he got.
Got a little help on that shot. That was kind of more Adam instead of just down and in.
That wasn't just up and down. That was Adam.
Mark Clark warming up. May be able to see on your device off to the right-hand side.
Ooh, that looks a little firmer.
We're getting closer.
14.97. It was a little firmer. Andre strikes out. Definitely can put the pressure, if there is such a thing, on John Rakoski.
Will there be a tie? The poll is up. Hurry.
Whoa.
Gotta hurry, 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 hurry. And the
That
first.
we talked about out of bounds a little earlier, and he finally got there.
Yeah, he found it. Wasn't looking for it, but he found it.
The first non-single pin that anyone's had to shoot out, and it's a split. It is doable. It's a 210. But Andres just opened a door for John Rakoski here.
Well, that's what I said. When sometimes on this pattern, everybody hits the pocket, but you want to make sure you're still striking. You make a move, and sometimes you pay the penalty. Uh-oh.
Am I?
Didn't
No.
even get one. This is not good.
Yeah, he pretty
43.
much had to make it. I mean, might as well go after it because Rakoski, you can't count on him to miss.
Not right now. No. Maybe not until like next week.
I mean, 9 spare 9s, 258 for Rakoski. If Andres makes that, he's 257. He had to go after it. Eight on this shot is more than enough to advance and take on Mark Clark.
That's enough.
And that's more than 8.
Off his hand, that's enough.
Well, Andres got a little additional bowler more than he expected.
Yeah, he'll finish in 4th.
But that was a great tournament for, your first comeback.
Shot 243 and didn't win. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Make a mental note of how many times that's going to happen in the stepladder final where a guy shoots a 243 and it does not come out on top. So, Mark Clark, you are up to take on Estero's own John Rakoski.
Mark and number 1 seed Brad Angelo will both get a couple of practice shots. I think Brad gets 4. Mark gets 8. Is that what it is?
Yep. Ball change just to see.
Whoa, I didn't know
trying
he had
something.
another ball.
Yeah, he does. That was a dark side, just to see and it gives it a little bit more shape. But I don't know if he's not a guy that likes to see a whole lot of curvature. Wanderer's got to feel pretty happy. He had his stuff in his car and he wasn't going to be bowling, and he got to come back in and make it to the show.
Yeah, he has a lot to be happy about, honestly. I mean, that was, and now he knows his body will hold up. Let's hope it continues to hold up. And he goes to a place in the Villages where a year ago he led after 1 day of qualifying, so he should be comfortable there. And he can absolutely be a factor on this tour as the year goes on.
278 to 243.
Fourth place finisher Andres Gomez, outstanding bowler. His entire week until the director's stepladder.
Well, and John got the information he wanted with those couple of practice shots. They can go right back to the ball he threw the last game in this next match, but he has some of that data.
Players are going to get some practice shots here.
And a wraparound 10 for John.
Only thing I worry about him staying in that Envy tour with the surface on it that it could just be losing enough energy going down lane. It's going to hit the pocket, but the strike percentage might go away.
Well, he got a couple practice shots in the end of the last game with a different ball, so he knows what he can do.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he missed that.
That is
Missed
something
that off his hand.
that you will never, ever see. It's a good thing it's on film because nobody believed it. He just missed a 10-pin.
Well, get it out of the way early, and perhaps that won't come back to bite him.
Tom, do you think we'll see Rakoski make the ball change right now?
I would I would think so, but
Been jumping around.
Yeah.
That contact,
Well, if Clark doubles, that could force his hand, right?
yes.
so to speak.
I mean, if Clark goes spare square, maybe not yet. But if he starts out with a double, it's time.
GB5 Pearl.
I'm a fan of that bowling ball. Big time.
Well, that ball's got some angle on the back end. There's no doubt about that.
Well, that one was also thrown at almost 18 miles an hour.
Yeah, 17.9.
Yeah, you could tell. He liked it. He started to back up a little bit, so he does throw the double. Now let's see what the pelota of choice is for John. Old Faithful or something new?
Old Faithful.
Yeah, Old Faithful.
He hasn't switched yet.
Doesn't like that one either.
And it was high.
I think it's either a move, it's got to be a move, or he's got to change balls. This is where this pattern is deceiving because the front part of the lane just kind of disappears in that zone where he's at. That's why you see, like, Andre, and you're definitely going to see Brad Angelo playing left when he gets on the show. Staying right could be a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, that was a good half-mile an hour faster, too. He missed left on the 10-pin, missed left on that shot. Just maybe getting a little grabby there, squeezing it, realizing this is a tough match, and this is a chance to bowl for a title if he wins this one.
It's hard to believe with what John has won that he would get grabby, but I guess there's that possibility.
I still remember years ago asking Pete Weber if he ever got nervous anymore. He said, absolutely. The time I don't get nervous in a match or a tournament is when I stop bowling. So, different types of nerves, right?
Exactly.
And managed differently.
Sure.
Wow, 7-10 was there for a blink of an eye.
That's three single pin shots in a row.
That was a better shot than the last two. But,
Okay.
But.
I'll go with that, but it's still, he's shooting a spare.
Yeah.
He's got to create some kind of angle entry. He's got to move. He's got to create some fresh push through the front part of the lane so that ball stores some energy.
And
would
John's a
think
guy, he's got to do with the ball change, right? Because we know he's direct. He's not going to be able to get left like a Janawicz or a Mark Clark and wheel on it.
Right.
It's not his game.
He's got to do something because that ball's reading just way too early. And I think everybody at home can see the same thing, that there's just no motion to it down lane. He's got to get something, either move where the ball's going to be cleaner through the front or get a ball that's going to be automatically cleaner through the front. And Mark is just opening up the lane. He's in his free wheel mode right now.
Well, and he can just keep cheating left and watch it carry until he's forced to do something because Rakoski's got to put pressure on him. John can still get to 258, but Mark Clark he's in his comfort zone and making it look pretty darn good.
When you get to play where you like to play, your swing gets pretty free.
And right now, his swing is free of charge.
And he is dead post in every shot.
That's a confident approach, confident release, and really good result.
So now, will he change? He had a long conversation with Jeff Johnson. Wow. And
No.
What?
So what's the thought here? Is it throw it differently, throw it better, make a move? Obviously, he's going to stick.
He's got to move left, I would think. Otherwise, he's going to stay in the same zone and try to throw it harder. He moved a little left.
Got it in the air, touch, and strikes.
But you're never going to see big moves, I don't think, out of John Rakoski. He threw that 15-3.
About where he's been. Yeah, he's been, 15-4-ish, 15, so.
The tiny bit of loft was a little bit different, but
What?
we're not talking like Mika stuff here.
Oh, no.
But
Mika can clear that first panel with no problem.
What first panel?
yeah, for him it's 45 feet to the pins.
That was in farther left.
It definitely was, but he found the shim.
That really held, too. I was a little worried at first that might go high. So he's staying stubborn with his selection of equipment.
But I'm really surprised that he stayed in that same zone for 3 frames. I mean, as soon as you see that thing go high, the ball's trying to tell you something. The lane's talking to the ball, and the ball's talking to you. You just got to be ready to listen.
Everything going Mark Clark's way right now. Flush, mixers, pure pocket hits. He's got it all going on in the front 5.
He's letting them go and staring them down.
Tom, when you have that conversation with a player, and I got to believe his conversation with Chef was, well, I just got to throw it better. Well, yeah, because they weren't the greatest shots, but you also have to have confidence that you're in the right part lane with the right ball.
Exactly.
Right? So it's not as simple as just throw it back.
I mean, it's not that he threw it bad. He might have threw one of those 3 bad, but if you're really watching, even on a bad shot and watching ball motion, and you've seen it go high like it was going, you got to do something. This is where...
Oh, my. Unexpected 2-4-10.
This is where Mark's got to control his adrenaline. He gets amped up, and he will fire through it. And the reason I know that, being on the same World Team Challenge team. He's got to breathe, slow time down, and let the ball work.
Too much 2-pin, and we have a little bit of a different game now. I don't think I'm going to ask anymore if John's going to make a change.
If he changes, he might change to another MV Tour.
Well, the good news for Clark is he still has a lead. 265, his max score. .258 for John Rakoski.
Yeah, the audience saw it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's getting the crowd into it now. That's maybe what he needs. The crowd was a little quiet.
Well,
the hometown favorite, no question.
I think the audience saw this right about there was going to strike.
Yeah. Well, he moved in a little bit. He's giving it a little more loft on the lane. You've seen that. And that's what Mark's doing, too. He's getting it out on the lane a little bit. Well, that looked like it was in. It was in and it held.
In the pocket, yeah.
Back-to-back shots on that lane.
Those shots were identical, weren't they, on that particular lane? They looked the same.
That's that Sammy Ventura shim we saw on day 1 right there.
Johnny chopping away at Mark's lead.
See if Clark can sort of reestablish himself after a tough 6th frame.
Oh, don't get it to the out of bounds. He did it again.
2-10 this time.
And I don't think you want to do that against John because John can close the gap right here.
Well, John has the lead now.
And Mark got too much of the 2-pin when he had the 4 over there. Now he's going to have to try to shave the 2 into the 10 to avoid back-to-back open frames.
Got a shot at it.
Oh. No, he's trying to
It
make it
almost bounced back out.
Yeah, that would have been unconventional, but it would have worked. But no.
244 now is Mark's best.
It's be a good time for a re-rack. Got to believe for Mark Clark. Take a deep breath.
Yeah, you can see his breathing, too. I'm watching him, and he's kind of taking a couple of deep breaths. You can see his shoulders up and down, move up and down a little bit, but he's not going to re-rack.
He's
Yeah, watch. I bet he's not bouncing quite as much in this approach either.
Yeah, let's see if he can make a little comeback here.
Better shot. Yeah, that was quality right there.
Yep. Tempoed himself down a little bit there.
More aggressive.
A couple of those deep breaths probably helped. To your point, Tom Carter.
Slow your heart down.
Yep, and he
Slow down time.
That was a savvy move by Mark.
Because that one game match goes by so fast. You start and you look up and you're in the 10th. And you don't know what happened, all the frames in between.
We'll go back into game 3 with Rudy and Brad. Rudy had that one in control, back-to-back splits. And Brad took advantage of it and is the #1 seed. Every frame is so important in these matches.
Boy, how much does that single pin miss at the moment?
Oh, is it in?
Yeah, in the pocket.
Yeah, again.
Again, I'm just now listening to the crowd reaction because most of these people know his game and they seem to know when he's made a good shot.
Yeah, as soon as they come out of the hand, they're starting. So now we have the tide turn. Rakoski's kind of in a commanding lead, especially if he strikes here.
Well, he's got to keep striking, though. 258 his max score. 244, Mark Clark.
That's it again.
Let me say it again.
Oh, my God. Did I just see a hop and a fist pump?
In the pocket. In the pocket.
We need to replay that celebration, not
We
today.
have to get Dr. Fabian, the cardiologist, in here.
That has never happened before.
And he's even popping some high fives, fist bumps with his support team.
He was airborne.
I think his pulse rate just hit 12.
Air Rakoski. New bowling shoes available.
His pulse rate almost matches his ball speed after that shot.
Well, Mark Clark, welcome to what a lot of other people have had to deal with in this house. Let's see how he responds.
Ooh. That was. I thought he hit up on that a little bit, but he got away with it.
No, he did. Yeah, that wasn't going OB. No doubt about it. I think he knows on this left lane, you get away with hitting one pretty good because there's a little hold on this left lane. Rakoski's had it a couple times.
Yeah, Mark, hey, he's taking his time now. He's kind of slowing things down.
That's smart because sometimes, he doesn't have a lot of experience in these conditions, but he has played it pretty wisely.
Well, he can throw a couple strikes here and force Rakoski get the first one in the 10th.
He just unloaded on that one and leaves the 2-8.
Yeah, it was fast. Almost a full mile an hour faster on that shot.
And it is so easy for Mark to amp it up. And it doesn't look like he did anything different. But he just gets it coming down on that swing so fast. It's just, and his leverage is so good at the line, it's easy to throw it harder for him. Ooh. That was a little scary for a second. 222, the best Mark can do.
Strike for Rakoski would just about do it, would it not?
Yeah, 8 out would be 222 for Rakoski. So a strike here, John just needs a mark or 9 on the next shot, and 8-1. Basically anything but a big split. And he's going to advance to take on Brad Angelo, our #1 seed.
Well, that ought to be interesting. And negative on the 10 pin. So 221 for Mark Clark. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough.
Sometimes you get away with one bad shot in a match like this, but back-to-back, it's not going to bode well for you.
Well, Rakoski got away with one when he missed the 10 pin.
Yeah, just the one.
Got away with it.
And I think you mentioned, Dave, if you're going to miss a single pin, that first frame is the best spot to do it.
Especially when you can back it up with a 6-bagger.
Well, yeah, 279. Even if you 9 out the first frame, it's still a pretty good score. Is that enough?
That is enough.
That's enough.
I got nervous because the crowd didn't start rooting for the shot when he let go of it. So John Rakoski's moving into the championship game against Brad Angelo.
And John and Jeff going to have another little chat on what to look at here.
I don't see him changing balls now, do you?
I think you'd have to pry that ball out of his hand now.
Yeah,
he's got so much confidence with that ball. So that I know he's going to throw it.
But can Brad Angelo dictate what John Rakoski is going to have to do?
He could.
Brad gets 10 shots, right?
And depending on what he's got on the ball and the ball of choice, could change the whole line of thought.
I'm thinking 2 things. One, either 10 shots with urethane or 10 shots with 500 grit.
I was going to say like 240 and just burn up that shot.
Yeah, and he has that opportunity. So, I think it's important that John does try a little something different here. Just,
Well, he might be doing something different now.
Different ball, yeah.
Yeah, he's got the other ball out.
And if nothing else, it shows Brad, hey, you know what? I'm not going to stick in the same ball. I got more than one little trick in the bag. So,
no, Brad did
Bring
not
your A
see
game.
that shot. He was coming over here. So if John would like to throw that ball one more time.
and we know, and we've talked about it for a couple of years, there's nobody better on this tour at setting the lanes up than Brad Angelo.
Right. He does it well. And he did it against Rudy, too, because Rudy called me over, and he goes, look where Brad's playing. And he was trying to burn.
Yeah.
He's trying to take Rudy's shot out of play.
Right. And he forced Rudy to get a little aggressive and make a couple bad shots.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Brad, he's a smart bowler.
Yeah.
There's no questioning in that.
All right, so practice time for Brad Angelo. Mark Clark takes third place. Ready to drop the puck.
Quick chat with Kelly Kulik there. He's going to stick with that physical blackout just because he can control it through the front of the lane, but he knows he's got to be very careful with his ball speed. He knows he'll be there. Yeah, and he sees it. So, but that, between that and the X2, right, he can be a little more aggressive, maybe a little more less speed sensitive with that ball than the X2. In the left lane, he liked it a little bit better.
Well, he's starting right where he left off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so and Brad knows, look, I'm going to have to shoot at least 250. That's all there is to it. It's on me, right? He knows 250 or better to have a chance.
It's really not too hard to do color for John Rakoski. He's going to play there.
Mm-hmm. Big dot, second arrow.
Yeah. About 22 at the arrows.
And Messenger is going to get there for Brad.
To about 10 down lane. So Brad's probably one of the unique individuals, and we've talked about it in the years past on the show. He does not slide. He has a rubber on his slide foot. I guess he bowled over in like Dubai or Saudi or somewhere, he was telling me. And the approaches were so tacky over there that he just went to basically tennis shoes, a rubber sole, and has been doing it ever since.
Yeah, there's a few guys that do that, but you got to believe when you get to this level in the PBA50 tour, your knees, I mean, you're holding your knee now just thinking about it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that hurts.
Yeah.
That's also a great Beatles album.
Let it knee.
No, Rubber Soul. Let it knee.
Let it knee. Oh, messenger. There's one in every crowd.
I know.
Don't worry, David, gets worse, and you're well aware of that. Double for Angelo.
Can we go ahead and say double for John, too?
Let's see. I think, he did have a slow start in the last game where he shot some spares before he jumped in the strike pool again. This is for the championship, the 2025 PBA50 Fort Myers Classic. Okay, you were right.
Can I say John's got a double?
You were right.
If we were any other place, I might say something different, but as well as he bowls down here in Florida, it's almost a given. I wonder if people are down here when he goes to a tournament, a local tournament, they go, John bowling? I'm not bowling.
Well, he's one of the guys that the tournament director says, please come in late.
Yeah. Oh, did you see that kick on the 10?
Yeah, that 6 pin
Something
went
hit
airborne.
the back. Yes.
The 6 pin almost looked like it was behind the 10.
It was behind the 10. Came off
yeah.
the.
Well, let's take a look at this
Look at
again.
that
Watch the
kickback.
6. Yeah.
Yes.
Caught a piece of the wall.
Rattled up there.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts.
Who says John don't throw lumber around?
Man. All right. Brad, a deliberate bowler's not going to be rushed by any of this.
I thought that was a little bit too far wide, and I didn't say anything, and I should have. But he got that right a little early.
A little flat 10 there.
Now, Brad is one of the more deliberate bowlers, takes his time. I mean, if there was a clock, he would be pushing it sometimes, I think.
Yeah. That's just the way he, that's his style. He's not going to speed it up for anybody, nor should he.
I think the Norm was probably one of the best at taking somebody out of their rhythm, him changing tape and doing things.
Oh, my God.
Sure.
Performing life-saving surgery on a spectator. I mean, whatever it took.
I know some people get a bad rap for doing that at times, but that's part of the game,
It is.
right? I mean,
If you're not breaking
part
any
of the game.
rules, yeah. No, Norm could turn into the human rain delay if necessary. Other times, no. That's a
That
pretty
was
shot.
pure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was dead pure.
much more aggressive.
Gorgeous, gorgeous shot from Brad.
John seems to be taking his sweet time too. He's not really getting in a hurry.
No, he's been very patient throughout this stepladder when we joined him. No,
Oh.
not going to get that 6 pin to cooperate.
And that's probably, and we talk about, breathing, taking, making good shots. That's probably what makes John, he never looks like he gets rushed. That's probably what makes him a great bowler. His tempo, his demeanor never changes.
John looking for his 3rd PBA 50 title.
Uh-oh.
Not again.
Ooh.
Nope, not again.
Were you nervous, Tom?
Yeah.
Little?
Yeah. That came off his head. I'm going, the better, hope he don't hook.
He even had a little wry smile coming off the approach on that one. Like, yeah, might have got away with a little something there.
Yeah, he skimmed that one.
That was plastic, though, so it backed up just enough.
Earlier, we saw Andres Gomez defeat John Janawicz in our opening match. Then John Rakoski beat Gomez. Then John beat Mark Clark. And now here he sits against the number 1 seed, Brad Angelo.
And to go back what you said earlier, Craig, with John's release, you see it go down, and his ball is still driving through the pins. It's still going left as it goes through the pins. And like you said, it's not like a high rev rate or he's just spanking on it.
But he just got the right tilt going. He did a little trick at the bottom and kind of, not really flicks it out there, but, you know, I don't know, kind of a little flip spin type thing and gets the ball to make that nice right
I guess
left
you might
motion.
want to call him the ultimate finesse player.
Yeah.
That's a pretty shot. These two, we're going down to the 10th again, guys, I think.
Okay.
Well, his last two shots were very confident and very aggressive.
You can say it now.
We have the possibility of a tie.
I think he likes that.
He does. That and cuts. He loves cuts.
And lunch.
And lunch. The cut for the top 60 was 239. I said it was going to be 240. I was close.
Yeah. We had it lower earlier, but the B squad in particular just kept forcing our hand, or Craig's hand actually.
Oh, it's so rare. We talked that it more than doubles for
Yeah.
day one. It's extremely rare. That happens maybe once a year.
You know, Barnes was 211, and he goes, it hardly ever doubles.
No.
And I told him, I said, I think it's going to be somewhere between 230 and 240. And he goes, it never doubles.
Yeah, he got 218. It was 107 after
218,
day one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Quitter 10 there for Brad.
Another flat 10 there. 6-pin just laying there, not doing his job.
We got another new guy out here this year, too, Jason Hurd.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did all right.
And another guy that doesn't slide. Wears tennis shoes.
He's a big boy, too.
He is.
Wouldn't want to meet him in an alley.
No, John Rakoski, who's sitting about 15, 20 feet away from the settee here, surrounded by his fellow Fort Myers area bowlers.
A few hundred of his closest friends.
It does feel weird when somebody doesn't strike. It feels like they just lost something.
Well, it's kind of like when you're bowling John. If you don't strike, you feel like you just lost.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, Brad's bowling a terrific game. And let's see, if Rakoski gets a single pin, then, yeah, it's just weird. And I don't know if he liked that. Oh, his reaction to that shot, Tom, Greg, was not happy.
He wasn't happy, but he's happy now.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that one.
No.
His reaction says the same thing. He's like, how did that strike?
I don't know how it struck. He just
That's why this is not a perfect game.
a thin spinner.
Sometimes you get away with the thing or two.
Well, and to what you were kind of alluding to earlier, Tom, at what point did Brad Angelo think, can I win? Can I win again?
Well,
he's in the position a lot.
It's not time for
No,
that.
not yet, but a break like that,
Right.
that's big.
That's fair.
Big,
Yeah,
big
that's
momentum swing.
Yeah.
Right. And we always talk about stuff getting in your head. You know, you could be thinking, no, not again. You know.
Yeah.
Now let's see if he's going to have to throw this one better.
Well, this is the one he's got a little shim room on. Yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny. The previous match with Mark Clark, Mark starts out with what, the first 5, and it didn't even phase John at all. You know, okay, I got an open, a couple spares. You got 5 to row. Big deal.
You know, and we didn't see Brad really doing anything to set the lanes up, but he was paying attention, and he is putting Rakoski on the right lane to finish, which was his weaker of the 2 lanes.
Rakoski max at 279. Angelo, this is a must strike here in the 7th. And he got it.
Well, that little half pocket there.
That wasn't much different than the Rakoski strike on that lane.
No. You said it earlier. They're not going to root against Brad, but not a lot of them.
No, they're not rooting for him, but it's not against him.
Extraordinarily polite applause.
Yeah,
Because a few people are like, is it okay
three
if we
people,
clap? Is it
yeah, there's
okay?
3 people clapping, and the whole place is clapping with John.
Yeah. Well, it's not like Brad didn't know that coming in. We'll have to have a tournament up in upstate New York, and then we'll let them meet in the final, see how that goes. We'll do it at Brad's place.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's
Well, if Brad strikes here, you need to just turn around and say, hey, it's okay to clap for me, too.
Yeah. Got to keep it tight. He did.
Yeah, great shot.
a
Great
massive double for Brad Angelo right there. Clutch bowling.
258 to 279 if we go off the sheets.
And nobody would be surprised if we did.
Well, we're averaging, what did I say, 257 or 258 right now? That's
Well,
fair.
and if John 9 spares one of these next 2 frames, puts his max also at 258.
Of course it does. Now, this right lane didn't yield 2 solid strikes for either player last time. So let's see what happens with this one with John. This is the one that he got away with the shot before.
We got it right early before. He didn't get that one right early. That was online.
He got it right, all right.
Yeah,
it's just not
right
right.
to the pocket.
Yeah. My goodness.
Well, he 4-pinned in the 4th, made that move and kind of collapsed the bucket. You know, something popped up there and knocked him down, and made a move there, and that was dead flush. So he's on top of what's going on out there and making good shots now.
Oh. That didn't look good because he didn't really post that shot at all.
No, he didn't. That one looked a little.
Yeah, he was kind of forward at the line and just kind of shotgunned it off his hand. So 258.
If he makes it.
But we had a miss and a very close one. Dead on.
Yeah, that was Walter Ray approved on that one right there.
So now it is definitely the possibility.
Oh, heck
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, that might have been one of his poorest shots, maybe of the entire night, that one there.
Looks like he might have got just a little quick with his feet. That's where he kind of lost his balance, didn't get through it.
He actually got excited.
That, I don't know about that.
In bowling.
Let's not get crazy here.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, how many of y'all would like to see a roll-off?
Brad Angelo would not.
Oh, and that's way in.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
shot
you
off his
called
hand.
that
That
immediately,
was
Tom.
left off of his hand.
He was trying to pump that one through with a little body language, but he grabbed a couple out of that. That's going to change quite a bit.
It's over. Best he can do is 223. John just needs
To
like
show
8
up.
pins. Show
3.
up. 3.
3.
Wow. Well, there's 2 stories here. It's a hometown win for John Rakoski, it looks like, and it's another, good Lord, as Craig has said before, what do I have to do to win one of these things for Brad?
He just, that monkey's still there.
I mean, this was going to be a tough match as well as John is bowling, but
Brad's got to go like, what happened? He just lost that off his hand. It looked like he just tugged it, but it was dead left. 213 for Brad Angelo.
And that's it. It's over. John Rakoski is your winner. Brad Angelo will take the place. But John Rakoski picks up his third PBA 50 title. And he can drive home tonight.
Yes.
And celebrate.
He gets to sleep in his own bed.
Well, he's got a bowl league first. That's true, isn't it? Yeah, Jeff just confirmed that. Yeah. That's hysterical. Doesn't matter to me. What do you want to do here, Craig? You or me on the interview? I'm good either way.
Yeah, I can go.
Okay. Yeah. But you got to ask him if he's bowling league.
Well, that's first. Well, it might be a third question.
Okay. There it is, folks. John Rakoski, your champion at home.
Yeah. Unbelievable. That guy is just pure ice.
Hey, BK, is it time to put up pursuit for the pins yet? No, he refuses.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, should we stick around and just live stream John in the league now?
There you go.
Well, I wouldn't want to be him, though. What if he throws like one bad shot? They're going to kill him.
Yeah. I bet he doesn't even relax in league. I bet he's that intense still in league.
Well, a worthy champion, to say the least. Three-time titleist John Rakoski